Okay, good evening again, everybody. So, welcome to Joe Schmidt, Irish head coach, and captain Rory Best. If I could take the first question here.
Hey Joe, could you just give us an update on the injuries, how Pete, Bundy, was Johnny injured, and how's Tyke, please?
Yeah, Tiger's fine. Johnny is fine. We decided to get him off, Connor off. We had two HIAs, Bundy and Pete. They're both symptom-free at the moment. That's reassuring, but we've got to go through the process. They failed HIA 1, so they'll go through HIA 2, HIA 3. That'll determine whether or not they've got a concussion. Beyond that, the minimum time you can turn around a player is 6 days. So we'll look at how that pans out over the next probably 24 hours when they do their HIA 2 and HIA 3. Yeah, Johnny is fine. Thanks. Yep.
Okay. Here. Second row.
Joe, just after all the second row talk in the last few weeks, can you pay tribute to Ian Henderson's performance? What you saw?
Yeah, I thought he started the game really well. Obviously, we scored on the back of his burst. He is a powerful athlete. I thought he really accelerated well, got through those first couple of tackles. He worked his way around the pitch really well. Our line-out functioned really well with him and James Ryan sharing the responsibility of calling the line-out. And, defensively, he worked really hard. Closing the gap. You can't afford to give Scotland any space at all, either on the outside or they play those trail runners. And I thought Ian Henderson was alert the whole time.
Okay, we'll come to the front row here, and then behind.
Rory, can you talk through your emotions when you not only get your fourth World Cup but also get a try in it?
Yeah, look, it was. I think it was a good start for us. I think when you start the tournament against a team like Scotland, you have a lot of nerves. You know you have to play well. You know you have to start well. And look, I think for us to get a couple of, for the forwards' point of view, to get a couple of tries in tight, it's pleasing. But look, I think we know that it's just a start, and we need to get better. And yeah, look, I think it's nice to have played in 4 World Cups now, but ultimately from a personal point of view that means nothing. That goes to the side, and it's about making sure that we get better as a collective as we go along.
Joe, if everyone had been fit, perhaps Jordan Larmour and Andrew Conway might not have started, but can you speak about their performances?
Yeah, we hadn't made any decisions earlier in the week, so they were first choice selections, and they played like that. I thought Jordan's energy, Andrew Conway's energy, they made a few errors, but very difficult conditions out there. Even prior to the rain, there was a little bit of film on the ball. It was quite slippery, so it is going to be one of those challenges if the weather comes in like that. I thought Andrew Conway finished his try superbly. Jordan Larmour was very good in the air. He looked dangerous. He opened them up one time and got him behind them. I think we probably made 10 line breaks, and Jordan and Andrew were the recipients of a couple of those, one for Andrew to score and one for Jordan to open people up. I thought he covered the space really well because they're so dangerous on the edges, Scotland, and he closed those channels down really well, both those guys. But so did Jacob Stockdale. I thought he was extra good defensively. He got Stuart Hogg a couple of times when he was sliding wide, and it just allowed us to get onto the front foot instead of them getting that space on the edge.
Just hold on for the translation to finish. Okay. Yep, this one first.
Joe, you've been asked about a couple of individuals, but as a team, the collective, the cohesion that we saw out there, what gave you most, what were you happiest with, I guess, and what do you feel needs a little bit of work for as you go through this pool?
I was delighted with all 23. I think one of the things that sometimes happens is you build a lead and then you lose a bit of cohesion when guys start filtering in and out. I didn't really detect that happened. Conditions made it really difficult for us to construct things, but we got the only try in the second half when a lot of those replacements were on. The scrum that we turned over with the replacements was really impressive, and I know Bestie was in the middle of that, but he had a couple of new partners either side of him with Andrew Porter and Dave Kilcoyne. So that was really pleasing, but also that front foot we got off to. It just takes a bit of pressure off in the game. It means they have to chase it a little bit. They have to take a few more risks than we do. And at the same time, I was happy with the number of risks we did take. I know it's only a one-pass play to play up the short side to a player like Jacob Stockdale, but it worked really well for us twice. And the first time we got nothing on the back of it, but it would have been great if we did. CJ Stander through the middle, we got nothing off. And Chris Farrell, when he got through off that scrum play, again, we didn't get the result we were looking for from. But when you build the pressure that we did, I think you're right. I think it is very much a collective performance.
Thanks, Joe. On the far side, and then next one at the back here.
Congratulations, Joe. Going to form, you'll be playing a quarter-final against South Africa. It must be handy to be able to manage your players towards that game in terms of the physical demands that you'll find if you do play South Africa.
Yeah, I think those physical demands are right up there. I thought it was a heavyweight contest last night. We might be light heavyweight or middleweight, I don't know, but it was a super game last night. Maybe slightly different conditions, but South Africa were bristling, and the All Blacks at times were brilliant. Those 2 tries they got. So, it is a very different situation from last time in the World Cup, where we were trying to build our way through the pool, knowing that France was the highest ranked opponent that we were going to have, and it was going to be a real mountain to climb into that game. We may be able to manage the squad, you might think, but I know that watching Japan, that first half they played against England, they went through the Pacific Nations Cup unbeaten. They are a dangerous team, and if they get some tempo, then we might be back on the back foot. So we've just got to take it step by step. We won't be talking too much about South Africa. If we can maybe get past Japan, I think you're right. I think we've got Russia, Samoa. Hopefully, at that stage, we can potentially manage players.
Thanks. Jerry?
Joe, could you talk a little bit about the defensive performance today? Because it seemed like you put a big emphasis on ramping up the line speed in a bid to reduce Finn Russell's influence and to keep the Scots to just 3 points.
Yeah, we didn't get it right all the time. I think early on when Bundy kind of knocked himself, we didn't quite close that down and we had to scramble into the corner. But I was really happy that we got them to the corners and got off the line in the middle of the pitch, and so that they didn't have front foot ball in the middle of the pitch where they love to play either the angles in behind you or either side of the ruck, and Finn Russell sits on the axis and runs in either side, and he's very hard to shut down because he runs in late and you're not sure which side he's coming. So I was delighted with the defensive performance. I mentioned earlier some of the defence of the back three, Jacob Stockdale particularly getting Stuart Hogg, but Gary Ringrose, the very first time they tried to go wide, he got beyond the line and you got Stuart Hogg out the back behind the line. I think Bundy got a turnover. So I was delighted with those aspects of our play.
Thanks. We have time for 2 more questions. First here, second that. Thanks.
Hi Joe, 6-day turnaround, and you say obviously 6 days for the guys to get through the HIA. How much of a frustration is that for you?
Yeah, it's a frustration for everyone because everyone knows that they're going to have some tight turnarounds. I know for the Russians, I think they're back out on Tuesday, so that is a real difficulty for them because I thought they were incredibly good on Friday evening, the way they threw themselves into the game, and a couple of their players really impressed. So, I think for us, we've got to just accept it's a 6-day turnaround and manage our squad as best we can. And if we don't have guys that we think are 100%, it was great what happened this week to a degree because Rob Kearney, Keith Earls, Joey Carberry, they're all training really well. So we've got them on hopefully a bit of an upswing for Japan, but you never take anything for granted. We'll only get 2 trainings. We'll just have Tuesday and Thursday because we'll travel down to Shizuoka tomorrow. So that will take up a fair bit of the day, and so by the time we get there, we will rest up and get into training on the Tuesday.
Thanks. Here in front of you. Yeah.
Rory, there were questions surrounding this team after the Six Nations and after the England game in the summer series. So how pleasing is it for you, especially as captain, to see your team put in a performance like they did today, which is ultimately the biggest stage?
Yeah, look, I think that those questions obviously externally, and it's hard to get away from it. You talk about being in the bubble, but I think probably the biggest frustration and the biggest, I wouldn't say questions, was just from within. You know, we knew we had a lot more to give, and we just weren't getting it for whatever reason. And you know, we were happy with the preparation in a lot of those games, and just didn't execute as well. Maybe we didn't, as players, put enough pressure on ourselves to be in the position we needed to be to execute the plan we were given. And yeah, look, I think that sometimes you need to draw a bit of a line in the sand. We were more disappointed than anyone in Ireland or in the world with that England performance, and we just said, look, that we need to be a lot better than that, and we are a lot better than that, and our potential is a lot better than that. And I think it was pleasing the way the next 2 Wales games and into today, but look, we'll have a lot to, you know, there's always going to be critics, and I think probably the constructive criticism we get from people like Joe and the rest of the coaches is probably tougher than anything, and that's how you learn and get better.
Thanks, Rory. We'll just finish here with this final question. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Matsu, Japan's Shueisha. My question is to head coach, please. How do you prepare for the next game against Japan?
Yeah, good question. I think we'll work that out this evening and tomorrow morning before we get on the Shinkansen and make our way to Kakagawa, and then we've got a little bit of a trip out to the Katsuragi Hotel. Once we get there, we will put our heads together because it all depends on how the players are. On Tuesday, we may just do a light session because that was pretty tough out there. I know, talking to a couple of their players, they were very tired. I will see the Japanese. I think they will play very fast. I think they have some great skills. They have players who can spread the ball very quickly. Nagare to Utamura. Lafayette is one of the most skillful guys you'd find in a midfield. And obviously on the edges, I thought Lemeki was an absolute wrecking ball against Russia, a real handful. And up front, you've obviously got some really dynamic guys, and I'm not sure how Jamie will manage those, but we'll be watching with interest on Thursday when he names his team, and that might cause a bit of adjustment from us so that we can best face up to what will be a really tough test for us.
Thank you very much, Joe, Rory. Thank you, everyone. The mix zone will be open in 2 minutes' time.